pledge allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, Bill's gone today, so I'll be running the meeting. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to bring them up. So we'll get this thing going, and we'll need to approve the meeting minutes of our board workshop meeting of October 29th. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the board workshop meeting October 29th.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or changes that you've seen? Looks all good. Count Hazel. So all in favor of approving the workshop meeting of October 29th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Now we could get a motion for the regular meeting of October 29th.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting of October 29th.
Second it.
Anyone see any changes or corrections? Or have any comments? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the regular meeting of October 29th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we need to adopt tonight's agenda.
Which one?
We'll make a motion, we accept tonight's agenda.
I'll second it.
They did.
Hey, Hazel, we got a motion, and
Who is the first?
Mike.
Sorry.
And the second? Me. Okay.
So the one in yellow, do we have to do anything with that, or it's all good?
Yeah.
Okay. Any changes to the agenda?
Just the highlighted one in yellow.
Okay. Any other questions on it? No additions? All in favor of adopting tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, do we have any public comments or questions? Anybody sign up? Okay. We'll move on to consent agenda. Do you have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We could stall things and table it.
I'll second.
You second it? Thanks, Kevin. Okay, any questions or comments or anything on it? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We got through that, okay. We're gonna go into reports and the leadership report for early childhood education assisting program. So Diana, you got the floor.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate Sarah Decker and her early childhood education assistance program. That's our early childhood program, which serves 54 Forts students, 3 and 4 year olds. Every 3 or 4 years, I can't remember which one, I think it's 3. The early achievers come out and do a full, they do kind of an audit where they make sure that the program is meeting the high quality components as outlined by the state. And so they can achieve a level 1 for really just beginning, or a level 5. And I think they scored a high 4, so almost the top 5 score. So congratulations to the early childhood education assistance program. That's really good for our program and our kids. And they also identified that we are a high performing bilingual program, because we have English learners and then English speakers. So they were very impressed with the overall process. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very proud.
That's good. Okay, Kyle, you're up with the athletic report for this.
All right. Yeah, we're, I think Hazel's gonna put some pictures up on the screen there for you guys to share. So as you guys know, Lonnie Archibald's
Oh,
been
cool.
taking photos of our kids and our programs for, I think, over 50 years. And he's,
I was in school.
yeah, yeah. And so he's been approaching me for a while, but he compiled a bunch of photos from this year's fall sports and shared them with us. And so we finally got them up on the website. So if you go to our athletics page, there's a button there that says, I don't know if it says Lonnie, but it says fall sports pictures. And so really this is Lonnie's contribution, and he really wants to be able to share his work with kids and families. And so that's our way of doing it. It's on the website now. And I think as we move into winter and spring, we'll continue to do the same thing. We'll have a link there where Lonnie can share his photos. So yeah, Lonnie's unbelievable. We're really fortunate to have him. So so there's some of his photos. I think I included a report in your board background, and so I'll just kind of summarize some of it. Again, athletics, extracurricular activities is a huge part of our overall program. We know that when kids are involved in those things, that their attendance and their grades are much better. In fact, I know the principals love it when it comes time to being able to go play. They get to hold them accountable for making sure their grades are where they need to be. And so it really has an important impact on our kids. And so the name of the game is really about participation. We want to get as many kids out as we possibly can. I think we even have a participation goal in our district plan on the page. And so I didn't do an analysis of the reasons why, but you can compare last year's participation numbers to this year's. And we're down a little bit. I said 13.5%, or if you want raw numbers, we had 166 kids last year that participated in middle school and high school fall sports compared to 144 this year. So there could be lots of reasons, but probably the biggest one is that 0 next to cross country, that we didn't offer a cross country program at the high school level this fall because of not having a coach. So again, it goes back to the importance of our coaches and their contribution to getting kids involved.
So if you know of any cross-country candidates, we can start recruiting for next fall already.
And so we're literally wrapping up fall sports as we speak. Girls volleyball plays tomorrow morning at Sundome and Yakima. They had an outstanding season. They're 8-0 league champions, finished 4th at districts, and so they play at 9:45 tomorrow morning against Riverview. And so we'll see if they can come home with a medal, but really a kind of a phenomenal season for the volleyball team. Our other teams, football wrapped up this last week. They did a crossover game, Kelso against Toledo. It's a little bit of a tough game, but I would say that a lot of positive stuff from the football team this year, in that if you look at the numbers that we started with, I think we stayed consistent all the way through. So our retention was good. I think the culture is good. I think we're young, and I think we've got a really strong sophomore class. So if we can retain everybody, stay with the program and the plan, very easily could be winning that crossover game and go to the state tournament.
And one of the highlights from their season is they were able to spend the night at Central in Ellensburg, and they actually did a college visit while they were there. They had staff who came and talked to them what it would be like living in the dorms, and did a tour. And I think that was what I would call value added for any of our students, a chance to visit another college.
Yeah, it was intentional. It was, a long ways to go, but again, there was another purpose, which was to get them on a college campus. I think they actually got to eat in the cafeteria. Like Dana said, some of the staff came and talked to them. And so for our kids, just sometimes getting there and seeing it and being able to realize that, hey, maybe I could be here, makes a big difference. So girls soccer team, again, they didn't have a lot of wins, but growth was, they got better and better every single game. The climate and the culture on the team was awesome and very positive, and tons of good feedback from parents about the climate and the culture, which is tough sometimes when you're not winning. But they finished on a very positive note. I think they started winning, or they tied a game, and then they won a game at the end of the season. So they were pretty proud of themselves. And then our cheerleaders, I want to say, like, they're one of the hardest working groups in the school. Because I get to see them when I go down to the weight room in the evenings and stuff, and they start in August and they practice every single night. They are consistent. And so I don't think most people realize how much time and energy the girls put into cheerleading, but there's a lot of work that goes in there. And then, like I said, the volleyball team is playing tomorrow morning. So, and then the other thing, again, I just want to say thank you and acknowledge all the people that make our home games happen. It takes a ton of work behind the scenes. Tina Hagan is phenomenal. She works really hard to organize all that behind the scenes. She's really my right hand in terms of doing all the scheduling. She's just great. So Tina is fantastic, and a lot of credit to her. And then Tom's been wonderful, stepping up with announcing and contest management. Again, I thank those guys because people don't realize, they think those things just happen, and they don't just happen. It takes people. So I want to appreciate them, and plus everybody else that volunteers in the district that does clocks and all that kind of stuff. Really important. And then the last thing I want to talk about is our Coaches Association, which I've recognized before. I just want to highlight the work that our Folks Coaches Association has done in terms of professional development. And basically our motto is, if we want our kids to grow and get better every practice, every single day, then our coaches need to practice growing and getting better and learning every single day. And so we've committed with the Positive Coaching Alliance. I think I've talked to you guys a little bit about this, but we put on 3 workshops. We did one in the fall where we trained 15 coaches. It's called a second goal or double goal coaching. It's really about coaching through the lens of teaching character through sports. So there's really 2 purposes besides just winning. And then we did one for parents. Just recently, we did a parent training, which basically exposes them to the same kind of philosophy and principles that we want our coaches to be doing. We didn't have a great turnout. We had 9, but it was okay because it's a start. And I think we had some people there that heard the message, and I think they were people that are good influencers, so they'll kind of spread the word. So we're hoping to do another parent workshop, get more people involved. Really, the goal was to have this common vision of what our kids are going to get when they participate in any of our athletic programs. And then we just did one for winter coaches too. So, and then real quick, I got a couple handouts for you so you can kind of see some of the double goal coaching principles. You can just pass those down. And then this is the parent one. So you can kind of see some of the stuff that's being taught. And then winter sports starts Monday. So ready or not, here we go.
Yeah. That's good.
Yep.
How are signups looking for winter sports?
Pretty good. We're in our second season of using the new registration final forms. So it's new to everybody. So it's been a little slower to get started just because it's a new system. But the nice thing is once you're in the system, like Family ID, then it becomes really easy for people to register. In fact, parents we didn't have the button turned on in the fall, but in the fall when they register their kids for athletics, they can actually register them for all their sports. So they really have to register one time. So, but I can't speak for all the sports right now, but I know I think with girls wrestling, we have 15 girls signed up and 12 boys, so we might have more girls than boys this year.
There.
Yeah, but I'll come back at the end of winter sports and give you guys another report.
Yeah, it sounds like girls basketball's full too.
Yeah. David said they were going to be right up against it.
They start Monday.
Yep.
So, yeah. And one of the things too, if you get back, Kyle, later, I'm sure you will, but you always do the academic stuff.
Yeah.
Can you bring that to us at
Yep.
some point?
In
Because that's interesting to look at.
Yeah, we usually compare that because we always say grades, attendance, and all that, but
Right.
they just finished up the quarter.
Right.
And so Tina told me, not ready yet.
Not ready.
So,
Yeah.
but I'll bring that to you guys.
Yeah, that'd be good to see in the relationship and stuff with that. So, yeah. Anybody else have any questions on? No, I think
I was just gonna thank Kyle and our building principals too, who are doing supervision at night often for your hard work. It does not go unnoticed. Our contests run really smooth.
Right.
And there's a positive feel for, even with the teams that weren't maybe as successful with the X's and O's or the numbers on the board, but the kids feel good about themselves. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can speak on football. What I was going to say is we had good crowds.
Yeah.
It really is.
Really good crowds.
Yep.
So I thought that was really nice. The new stadium and all that stuff surrounding it.
Well, I think credit to ASB too. I think they're working really hard to revitalize some of the school spirit.
Yeah.
And so big credit to Brady, King, and what they're trying to do. So you can
Yeah,
see
I think that's an important part of it too, is getting the other student body involved in it.
Yep.
Get, probably pull more kids in too, so. Anyway,
Okay, good. Thank you.
thanks, Scott.
That's-
Okay. Jump into, financial report.
So it's that time of year where Jan has worked really hard this last month finalizing the 23-24 fiscal year, end of year F-196. And so that, I don't know how many pages it is, 100 some pages, is reflective of what we submit to OSPI for the, and then it will be posted there once it is finalized. But some highlights, if you just scroll down to page 3, kind of this is just the overview. You can see the general fund is in the left column, ASB fund in the next, debt service, capital projects, transportation, and then permanent fund. But if you scroll down to the 3rd page, you'll see the total fund balance at the end of the year. And so you can see with liabilities in our general fund, it's 11.7 million, or the total fund balance is just shy a little bit of 11 million. Our ASB 109,000, our debt service 1.6, capital projects at 604,000, and then transportation vehicle at 474,000, with a total of about 13 million, almost $14 million. And then if you continue to keep scrolling, you can see especially our revenues against our, so you can see revenues in each of the areas and where they were. For our general fund, again, we were anticipating 54 million, and our expenditures were right at 53 million. We did have some transfers out of the debt service and the general fund to our capital projects to do our stadium, not our stadium, our bathrooms, and finalizing our project. But I guess I would just open it up for more specific questions that you might have. I have Jan here with us for any specific questions that you might have.
There's a lot of pages to review.
Yeah, and as you continue to go through, you can see the sub-funds in the general fund. And again, I have Jan here in the event you have any specific questions.
Anybody?
There's a lot here.
There's
a lot here.
Welcome to Jan's world.
I know. My head hurts.
Jan, anything you want to share that would, the only unusual thing we had this year is that the reports got hung up in the system for some kind of crazy errors, and they finally, I think, wrapped their brains around that. But anything you want to share, Jan?
I think the transfers were also carryover from our stage lighting project, completion of that.
There were some other transfers out from our stage lighting project,
The fencing
and the fencing.
was part of this.
But no big surprises?
No. Nope. But
So how to come up with the budget? I mean, it was pretty close.
Yeah, we had a little less expenditures than what we thought, and we're gonna see that in the next one when I go over our end of year to see what the fund balance is, but no big surprises.
Okay,
If you ever wanted to do a workshop around the F-196, I'm sure we could give you an hour where you can learn how everything fits together if you want.
that would be interesting.
Just as long as you keep us from going to jail.
Yes.
Keep the lights on.
We're keeping you from going to jail, and
Yeah.
we're definitely keeping the lights on, yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't need an approval for that. That's just part of the process where I approve it.
Mhm.
Do you want to go to the fund balance
Sure.
then?
Yeah.
So then the next document shows the final fund balance at the end of August in 2024. And so you can see that the overall fund balance is at 20% of our overall budget. That would be of last year's budget. With the 2.6 million for minimum fund. And then we have quite a bit of carryover where we're required to carry that over and keep it in the fund. We have some learning assistance program funds. We have some professional learning days, middle school CTE. So that's restricted carryover. Same thing with transition to kindergarten, and it's a good thing that we had some carryover for transition to kindergarten because our Office of Superintendent for Public Instruction forgot to put that in the budget. He's assured us that we will be getting it in this next legislative session. There'll be some kind of emergency funds where we'll tap into that once legislation starts. But so anyway, it's a good thing that we have extra dollars. Some school districts are really scrambling in that their money is tight anyway, and they were planning on robust transitional kindergarten, and then it didn't end up in the final budget. There's also some carryover for inventory, and then you can see at the end of the day, our undesignated unreserved is at 7.6 million, a total of 14% of our overall budget. So we're in we're in good state financially.
Good job.
Okay, and then next one on the agenda is levy expenditures.
So you can see, and Jan and I talked in quite some length to maybe redo this because it doesn't show. Remember, we not only have our levy, the money that we collect, the 700 some thousand, but then we also get the matching local effort assistance, and we don't have all of those dollars captured in this spreadsheet. So we are thinking we need a more transparent way for you guys to see the big picture of the levy dollars that we collect from our taxpayers and then the matching LEA. It captures a ton of it, but not everything that we went through when we looked at the overall levy process last time.
But this is this for 23-24 budget.
Correct.
Not the whole 4 years.
Correct.
This is for
Just for last year's, so you can get a, when we talk about levy dollars spending for things that go to students, for example, or diplomas and graduation supplies, $3,200. I mean, it just lists item by item, so you can really get a feel for when the public's asking you, how is this going to students? This is how we use our local dollars. And it varies from year to year, depending on anything from field trips. We didn't actually budget, but we spent $4,100 in field trips. And again, it's pretty fluid because some years we spend more. We had more students take the AP exams. It just varies from year to year. So the first chunk of that really is for instructional materials. So you can see how that is spent. And then the second section captures some of the personnel, but not all of the personnel. If you remember from my presentation last time, there are 37 classified staff employees who are paid out of local funding. But this gives you an idea of, for example, ECAP. And again, Jan and I feel like we need to do a better job of really capturing how that is being paid for. And then the next section is the the extracurricular athletics, well, technology is usually more of a fixed price. And then the extracurricular athletics, 875,000, so that's a big chunk. And again, that goes for uniforms, equipment, coaches' salaries, transportation, referees, everything we do for the extracurricular. And then the last category is the maintenance and operations, and I see Bill just popped out. And so there might be some things that are not listed in here, but you can see, and if we budgeted for something and then didn't actually pay for that, it's because we either, something else more important came up, or we got a grant or some other thing. But that gives you kind of an idea of those itemized areas. For example, the high school hot water tank replacement, that was one of those areas that we didn't know was going to happen.
Well, then for the maintenance administrative support staff, we budgeted 63,000, and we didn't spend any of it. It's under maintenance and operations.
Oh, you know what?
What's that?
That, there should be a number.
There should be a number there.
Yeah, it should be about that.
Jan has to go back to the budget and then put in every little thing. So again, we're going to come up with a better system of tracking and showing you. This is a really old form, and we're thinking we need to update it where we pull it from the actual system.
Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah. So when you budget it, and like you said, in the maintenance operation, there's a new roof for elementary school. We spent 96,000. We didn't have anything budgeted for it, but that's one of the things you're talking about that pops up. Yeah. So when do you do the budget? Do you do it?
Well, but to build the budget, we put so I'll tell you what it looks like in the spring. I meet with every department, with the building principals. We try to get everything down on paper, then we translate it and move it in through the budget development process in June, July, and then stuff might change after we adopt the budget. Yeah.
I mean, athletics usually
It's pretty consistent.
It's pretty consistent.
It is.
Yeah, just going through it all. I mean, like you said, could be like you said, a better way to bring it in. I mean, it's interesting to look at, a lot of numbers, but it all adds up, right? And that's what we're talking about going into the levy, is that if you don't have that money, where's it going to come from?
Correct.
So it's a good thing to look at, because it is a big piece of it. So what do we do if we don't have that, or it doesn't pass? Where are we going to be?
So like on maintenance and operation, you budget 2.8 and you spend 2.1. Where does the other 700,000 go? Goes
To
back
those
into
37 full-time equivalent classified staff that we do not have funds for. That amounts to about $3.7 million.
That's just a part of it.
There's some big expenditures for the fencing and the stage lighting that did not, or it cost less money. Which is a chunk of that.
So it just gets absorbed back into it.
Van,
Gets spent
the
twice.
van replacements that were purchased out of ESSER monies.
Yeah, another good example, we put our vans in there. We got ESSER dollars instead that we paid for that. And so there's a lot of exchange in where we think we're going to pay for it and then we don't. But again, I think between Kyle, me, and Jan, we're going to be developing a new tool that is more transparent for you to see, not just the levy dollars, the 700-some thousand that we're collecting, but then what we get for that LEA, local effort assistant, and how that plays into the big picture.
Yeah.
This is
Speaking
something,
of,
this is something that we can, like the public can see, like when we go for the levy, that they can see exactly.
It'd be good to do the big picture kind of like this, and when we say curriculum and supplies, we could literally list out high school diplomas, advanced placement tests, field trips. I mean, we could even be more specific if they want to know what it is so that it's reaching kids. Absolutely. This is a public document. We're in public right now, so yeah, anybody could request a document and we could produce it.
I guess one of the questions too is, and I think I know the answer, but when you come up with something like in maintenance or any of this stuff that you had budgeted for and you don't use it for that because you use it for, what's the process for that? I mean, you budgeted it, and then if you don't use it, why wasn't it used? There's a process that needs it over here, right? I mean, things pop up, or
It's a matter
department
of,
needs more of this that we weren't counting on, so you guys make those decisions where that money's gonna go.
the bottom line though is we can never expend more than, if we say we're gonna spend 53 million in the general fund and we go 53 million plus $1, we are in trouble.
Yeah,
We
that's why
never
we
do
have
that,
those.
but the other part is an internal process for
Internal
transfer. Yeah.
process with each department and who needs what.
Although I have to be really careful when I say that, because the only thing that we can move fluidly and make choices is about our local effort assistance and our local dollars. Everything else has a category. If it's basic ed, it stays with basic ed.
Right.
If it's career and technology, it stays with career and technology. If it's special ed, it stays with special
Right,
ed.
but what I'm talking about, the levy dollars,
Yeah.
where it's going to and what's decided what's gonna get the attention that year to fix,
Yeah.
or this department needs more books or something, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, there's a process you go through to arrive at that.
Yeah. Any other questions for any of Bill's projects? I brought up the hot water heater. That was an example of an unforeseen replacement.
No.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else have questions before we move on? Wonder if Myron has those issues with hot water tanks in our online school. Or Sheila.
No, they just probably have other.
Other things that pop up. Yeah. Okay, the last one on the financial report is the timber revenue. So I kind of put this together and there's some.
Yeah, so again, if you look at the general flavor for QVSD, we continue to collect the timber excess tax in our general fund and debt service fund. That's pretty systematic. And then the general fund, 44 some thousand for federal forest, but you can see what did not happen this year for whatever reason is the same amount of logging in our junior taxing districts. And that might be an anomaly. That might be the way DNR planned when the sales come up. It might be that sales were done and we haven't seen the revenue yet, or that there are sales posted but they haven't sold, and then they have, when a sale sells, they have 2 years to log. So we might be seeing more this year. In fact, I'll go to the next DNR quarterly meeting Ron and I usually attend to find out more specifically what's going to come in our junior taxing district.
Yeah, you don't get the money when it's sold. It's when they start logging, start cutting trees, and revenue starts flowing back. So it is really low this year.
Yeah, we were averaging anywhere from 300 to 500,000, $500,000 in the debt service. And again, that's how we were able to capture the dollars for the stadium and the bathrooms. Because you can pull those are considered local. That's another one of our local pots of money. Really, when you look at the three things for local pots of money, it's our levy, our LEA, and then our timber dollars. And those are the only fluid, what I call fluid funds that we can say, you can say we want to designate that for X, Y, or Z. But I don't know. It's hard for us to predict what's going to happen this year, but I will tell you, and being at the last Board of Natural Resource meeting, there is a large group of environmentalists that are pushing to get our timber, a chunk of our timberlands put into legacy forests.
Carbon credits.
Mm,
And so Kyle and I sit on this revenue advisory committee with the county. They've actually done a really good job of getting all of the junior taxing district representatives from the hospitals in Clallam County, the superintendents, fire districts, library boards together, and we're watching this very closely to work in hand with the DNR so they keep logging.
Scary times ahead.
Yep. I understand that a little bit more.
Yeah, me and Diana were talking earlier too, and Jan, so our timber excise tax for this year, this budget year is probably gonna be down. Just from the fact that Rainier stopped logging in June, and they probably won't hit it hard, and they've sold the properties, but, the revenue's gonna be down that we receive from the timber excise tax, because every big chunk of it comes from Rainier. They'll start logging probably second or third quarter of next year heavily again. But we're gonna see, I don't know what we budgeted, but it's probably gonna be at least a quarter or more less on the forest excise tax. That's from private companies, not the state trust.
Well, then the other thing that you need to remember about those logging dollars in the general fund for the local, or for the levy and the debt service is the more we collect there, the less your dollar per thousand on taxes. So that actually helps the taxpayer. When those come in higher, that lowers the tax number.
Yeah.
So again, they take that away, do the math. That's not good.
It's a good thing to let the public know about.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference.
But some of that stuff's market driven, you know, so if the economy tanks,
Yeah,
they're not gonna log that stuff, they're gonna sit on it.
well, not necessarily, but,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Private companies, they have budgets to, unless it gets really, really bad. But
And then Kyle, was your understanding from that revenue advisory committee that when Rainier sells their property, there's that tax dollar that they're gonna have to figure out how they're gonna distribute amongst the county? Right?
Yeah.
That's part of our advice,
Yeah, they're gonna look to us to help figure that out.
because there will be a large tax income that they get from the selling of the Rainier properties. And then that's part of another challenge that they're gonna have to figure out how to.
They don't have a formula for.
They don't have a formula for disseminating the dollars or getting that across. So it's another real important part of our role.
You'd think they would have a formula to figure that out.
yeah, because it happens.
They got us.
Everybody wants their hand in the pot.
Everybody does, but is it fair for us if that's more land out here south of town for us or wherever? I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there.
Mhm.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, there we go. Okay, well, thank you for the financial report. Moving on, board member report. Anybody have anything?
Nope.
Kevin?
Now, one thing I was, Lonnie Archibald, could we do something for him? Like give him a free pass to go to every game, or did we do that already?
Well, the one thing we haven't quite finished off over at the stadium yet is we got some plaques to honor the
Lonnie.
board, and then also some other folks that have contributed quite a bit, Lonnie being one of them. And so we actually have a very nice plaque to recognize him. Trying to figure out the best location and how to display it, where to display it.
He gets into all the games free because all he has to do is walk up with his camera.
Press pass.
He may not want that for the rest of his life.
I was just thinking some gesture to
Yeah.
say how much we appreciate it. That's a good idea.
And they haven't retired yet, the thing, so how do you do
Well, and then the
that?
other thing we could do is,
Pushing him out, are you?
when they have the best of Forks, we could nominate him, as a volunteer. Mhm.
You wouldn't go for a bronze statue.
Anyway, that's why.
Shannon?
No, just congratulations to our girls volleyball team. Good luck to
Yeah.
them tomorrow.
Yeah.
And just in honor of Veterans Day, I just want to shout out to our staff and previous students that served or are serving. And I just think it's exciting those last few years. We've had a lot of kids that are currently serving and they're excelling. I think that's pretty awesome. A great pathway for them.
Yeah. It's good.
We had a really nice Veterans Day assembly on Friday, and I will tell you that I heard over and over from community members who hadn't necessarily been in our gym since maybe a year prior. They love the flag. Yeah, I heard a lot of that.
Yeah, I heard good things about that.
Did we have it last year for Veterans Day? I can't remember. When did it get started?
Yeah,
Did we
it's
have
the first
that
time I-
last year?
Was the first time
so
last year?
nervous
Okay.
about how I was gonna mess it up.
Yeah, the only thing I have is I talked to Diane about it, that as kind of tie in with our levy, is that Port Anthos passed their bond and levy, which was surprising. And Diana probably knows more about it than I do, but I thought it was interesting that they did. I don't know how many years they've tried to pass a levy or bond, so that was actually good. Their schools are run down, I know that.
Mhm.
And
Did it pass annually or?
Yeah, 62%, which is really good.
Yeah.
Ironically, their EP&O didn't pass as well as their bond, but I attributed a lot to Marty Brewer, who's the superintendent there. He's passed bonds in other districts, and I think has built up some trust. They had a campaign similar to what we did when we passed ours, and that's door knocking to find out, your yes and no's, and they were predicting 62 to 63%, so they were pretty much dead on. They did a lot of work. And I think they plan on replacing their high school, an elementary school. They're working on their middle school with the capital levy, and then they're gonna redo the fine arts. I don't know how that's gonna work for 140 million when you
Well,
look at cost.
That was my
But,
next question too, is that, because Marty, is it'd be interesting to see what the costs or the bids come in at for our project coming up. So hopefully our project coming
Yeah.
up. So it'd be nice to follow and see how that's going to go. And, yeah.
But anyway, kudos to them. That's good for our economy. That's good for our local workers, and the
Yeah.
kids there deserve that.
Okay, well, I have, Myron and Sheila, do you have anything you'd like to discuss or talk about?
Myron has a little update.
Oh, good.
Yes. So I don't know if you remember our student Nadia that won the K-12 cook-off last spring. She actually, we had some media hits with her, and there was a story posted on Cairo that was also then published with Yahoo, and I think it was MSNBC. I'll go back and look at it again. So we have some national press on that story, which is awesome. It's called Washington Brings the Heat National Cook-Off. So that was MSN, MSN, Yahoo Life, and Cairo TV. All did a story on her. Enrollment continues to look really, really good. We've hit over 3,000 students, and so we're excited. Things are going well.
Good. Good to hear.
We also did Veterans Day assemblies through our platform, and we did them all of our grade levels. The kids, they were always fun to do. I know it seems kind of weird to do those online, but we do them online, and we had a lot of students in our high school assembly. I attended that one. We had students present pictures of their family members that were veterans, and we did a little slideshow about them and talk about what veterans were and what they are and the importance of them in our society. So it was really cool.
Oh, nice.
I have a question for Myron.
Yeah, go ahead, Shannon.
So I follow you guys on Facebook, and I saw you have a virtual calming room.
Yeah, so that's something the counselors learned, and so they've created a virtual calming room that seems to be working so far. I need to get more details on it, but it seems like it's taking off fairly well as far as kids having a chance to kind of just set themselves aside and kind of give themselves a time to kind of take a moment. You know, we all have to do that at times. You know, for me, when I need to step aside, I leave my desk and do something else to kind of do that, because we all have those times in our day, you know, where it's like, this is just too much input. I need to kind of back it off a little bit.
Keep us posted on how that's going. I thought that sounded pretty cool for the kids.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Okay, moving on to new business. Approval of resolution number 324-25, replacement educational programs and operation levy.
So just a couple of things. This would be for collection in 2026. The number I gave you at the last meeting at 1.3 million would have been for 4% growth in 2025, which we hit. And so Jan and I used a spreadsheet provided by OSPI to see if we could get close to $1.50 per thousand, and it would be the collection of a 1.5 million. And we would do that steadily over the next 4 years, 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2029. So before I go any further, we went back and looked at what our LEA collection would be over those 4 years. And in the first year, it would be 4.9. In the second year, it'd be 5.8. But then we're going to see a taper off again if we're thinking that the assessed values continue to go up. The third year, 4.5, and then the fourth year, 4.3. So that would be a collection rate, if you look a little further down, in the first year of $1.50. And again, that there's a lot of assumptions with that. The second year in 2027, it would dip to 140. In 2028, it would dip to 126, and in 2029, it would be down at the 113. So it's likely that we will not collect that much LEA. Remember, to get your LEA, you have to be $1.50 per thousand. I looked at the way Port Angeles structured theirs. Instead, they increased that 1.5 million. They collect like 8 million. They increased it every year to try to keep that at the $1.50. I believe that with our budget capacity, we can keep that steady and tell the taxpayers we're going to keep it steady over the next 4 years. We are increasing it. So I pulled from, I just went to the county assessor. You can pull up any property. I pulled up a home for $350,000 and want to show you what the difference would be for, so you really understand what that is. And you can pull up your own and do the same for your property to see what it would cost you. So for a home valued at $353,000, go down there to where it shows the 402. We're school district 402. So our bond collection rate right now is $1.23 per thousand. And then where it says general fund, M&O, that used to be maintenance and operation. They never have changed it to EP&O. So where I have that highlighted, that's the 81 cents per thousand at 326. So currently that's $267. So if you did the math, just divide the overall number by 1,000 times 150. The new rate would be $489.76 a month, for a difference of $222.41 a year, which equates to $18.53 a month. I met with some volunteer staff on Wednesday. One of Marnie's sitting out there, and I went through all of our levy information that I shared with you. What I heard our own staff say is that the things we really need to show the community are how it touches kids, kind of what you were talking about, Shannon. And then the other big picture is, what would it cost for a home, and what does that mean for my dollar figure per month, like we did. And then again, making sure that the community knows that if we don't pass the levy, we're out 10% of our budget. It really equates to 10% of our budget. 6 million of 60 million a year, which would mean that we would have to cut probably about 40 teaching positions, or classified and or teaching. We pay for some of our non-basic education teachers, like our music teachers, extra positions out of those funds. And so those are the messaging that we're going to do. Should you pass the resolution tonight, then this is what would be on the EP&O levy ballot for the February 11th election. And then I have a list of community members, both inside the school district and outside, who are willing to sit on a committee to help us get the word out. We would very strategically do that. We tested it with a Facebook posting. Shannon saw it as well. The first comment we had was from a community member as well. The school district must be going broke if they're going to go out for more money. And we did have a former employee said, hello, have you driven by the schools and seen what all they've done? They want to upkeep what's already done well. And if they were broke, they would be riffing people. So we want to dispel the myth that, and there's a lot of variables coming up. We don't know how our funds will look, but this will keep the promise of what we're able to sustain over time.
We didn't use any of that money to do the field or the stadium or
Correct.
stuff like that.
Correct. The grants that we are getting really do help out. I'm going to make a list of those. That'll be part of, I'm working with our communication specialists, the ones that we hired to help get the word out. Once this is passed, then we'll start doing the messaging in multiple places, multiple times, over and over again.
Good.
This is great,
Good.
by the way. I like
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anybody asks you, State School 2 and State School PT2 and PT1, those are imposed by the state. Those are not our taxes.
Yeah.
So if they want to go look at what we are saying is true, the dollar per thousand, we're paying currently for QVSD, we're at $2 per thousand. If you look at Port Angeles and other school districts, they are over three whatever a thousand, 3.5 I think, but there it is. You can take this. I'm going to do this on the road show when I go places to have this with me, so that if people want to say, what's it going to cost me? I'll say, go to the assessor, find your property, find this number, and do the math.
I might laminate this.
There you go.
Keep it.
And it really does equate to, what, 3 coffees a month?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Don't tell my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Tell my wife to find coffee. So yeah, you got it per month, how much per month that is, so.
And it does go up a little bit for the property, if your property value goes up. But again, the projection is that we're going to see an increase in assessed value, and we can't collect more when your AV goes up. We actually collect less per thousand.
Right.
Because the dollar amount we're going to levy is 1.5 million.
Yeah, you're not
Increasing
basing it
that.
on 150, you gotta base it on a dollar amount.
Yeah.
And you can't go over that.
Yeah.
So, and that's been with all of our stuff over the years, is that rate goes down. Seems to, so. Yeah. Okay, move, I need a,
Mine would be.
get your calculator up.
Oh, Mike's the mathematician. He already got his out.
Get more beef, get more.
Yeah, I have to need that.
There you go. Okay, so we need to make a motion. Can I get a motion of approval of resolution number 3, 24-25, replacement educational programs and operational levy? To approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 3-24/25.
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion or any more questions? Or I think Diana did a good job laying it out for us, so now she's got to go out and get it out there. So, yeah, nice work on this, and yeah, so I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the resolution number 3, 24-25, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, got our work cut out. Moving on, we got a Jewel settlement, additional funds of 17,600.
This is on top of what we already got?
Well, we approved this at a former meeting about I think 2 times ago, and I thought it was for the social media. It's additional Jewel funding. So we need the resolution then to make sure that money is for jeweling and that it go to what you wanted, and that's prevention type programs. So we have a total of 54,517.
Do we got more coming? It seems like we had about 80,000, wasn't it?
I think we'll be getting more. It comes in slowly, so we'll be getting more.
Okay, so can I get a motion on resolution 2425 commitment of fund balance for jewel settlement?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for 24-25 commitment of fund balance for the jewel settlement.
I'll second that one also.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None hearing, motion carried.
So we've already spent some of that we've received.
No, we've not spent any of it, but we're getting ready to spend some of it, I think. Is that right, Jan? We haven't spent any of it yet.
Yeah, we talked about it, what
Yeah.
it should go for, but
Well, and I recently was talking to you about that too. It was, I don't know if you guys have seen it.
In plain sight?
Hidden in plain sight. I think it was one of the like Wenatchee or somewhere like that just did one
Los
recently.
Angeles and Joyce posted one last year.
Oh, they did, okay.
Yeah, so we've been working, Elaine and I have been working with the ESD to get something like that.
Yeah, those are
Powerful.
yes.
And there's staff professional development associated with it as well. So that way staff can see if any of that's hidden and right there in front of them as well.
In their classrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a program that's to not just be for the staff, but for parents and community members if they want to see what a room would look like where kids are hiding it, right? And it looks like a normal thing, or like it's on a.
Oh, yeah. I watched them on the news or whatever and I'm shocked. Things
Are
that,
there still kids using it, doing it a lot?
oh,
Is it?
and they're getting more and more creative of hiding it.
Really?
okay. We got executive session tonight. Want to thank all you guys in the audience to come and listen, and appreciate that. Anything else, Diana, before we go on executive session? Is there going to be anything that comes out of it, or
There will be no decision.
no decision?
Yeah.
Okay. And as I understand, we're going to have it in here. Okay. So, anyway, can't adjourn yet. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, Myron.
See ya.
Thank you.
think it's, oh, there you go.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Broke the table. Shit.
Oh,
Hasn't been on in time, right?
what
Yeah.
just happened? You hit it and it all went away.
Nothing hasn't been on, right?
Yeah, we were on.
That's
with him,
Diana.
so we
You think
could see.
But no one else
daddy's egging her
No.
on?
No, not
because she
here.
wouldn't do this on
I don't
her
like
own.
that.
She seems to
I
be
know.
shy.
No. There's another community member, and I'm second on an employee.
Okay.
An employee?